Welcome back to City South Africa. I'm Nicky Nash, and today I'm going to be talking about my journey in the motoring industry for the past year I've been in it. Firstly, I'm going to be talking about how it has been for me, my experiences, challenges, all of that, and asked on my social media platforms questions you guys might have and might want answers to. So I have the questions here, so I'll be answering those questions and telling you guys about my overall experience within the industry, because officially I decided to get into the motoring industry last year, July, right? But I've had the Switch Off channel or page for 3 years, so it was 2 years before last year. So last year I decided, let me go into car reviewing, new car reviews. So I'm gonna be talking about that whole experience from last year, July, till now. So the first question I have is, how do you keep the content going, like the consistency and work? How do I do it? Is there a formula or something? How do I balance my work, this content, and my personal life? So answering that question, starting off is a lot, because I'm still in school, so it's still a lot. So you need to know your priorities. You need to set them out. You need to plan ahead as well. Don't just go with the flow. Going with the flow can lead to you not know. It's better for you to know what you're doing today, tomorrow, next week. So set your things out properly, so that when things come, it doesn't come as a surprise. So how do I do it? I do it exactly like that. I plan things. I always make sure I have an idea of what I'm gonna be doing in the next month. So with the motoring industry, how do I balance that with my personal life? Essentially, the motoring industry is my life. Cars are my life. So there's not much to balance, because it's one and the same thing for me, except for once I'm getting like really personal in my life. So how do I do it? Content wise, what keeps me going? My end goal. I have an end goal. That's what that keeps me going. I have one for the end of the year this year as well. So that's something that keeps me going. How do I balance that with my personal life? I make my personal life cars in the motoring industry. I make my personal life work, because literally Monday to Friday to me is cars, content, and then sharp, or on the weekends I'll have my own personal life, do what I do. So it also gets tiring at points. Sometimes you need to sacrifice certain things for you to do what you want. For example, right now I am shooting this video for you guys, and I'm still gonna shoot the Suzuki Swift review, because I'm in the Suzuki Swift right now. I'm still going to shoot that after this video, and time wise it's exactly 3 o'clock now that I'm looking at it, and Formula One is on. So I sacrificed my Formula One time so I can do this review. So it comes with a lot of sacrifices. So yeah, that's that. The second question is, I would love to get into the game, but unfortunately I am not or have studied journalism. Is that a requirement? That's question number 2, but there's also another question. How do manufacturers choose people to review their cars? Okay, I'll first answer first part. Is journalism a requirement? No, it's not. Well, for me, it's not. I am not a journalist. I haven't studied journalism. So I think it becomes a requirement once you're working for a publication, because certain publications want journalists, because that's essentially what this job is. But then if you're doing it on your own, like how I'm doing it, you don't need to study journalism. But once you're looking for a job, I feel certain publications will tell you, we want a journalism degree, diploma, certificate, all those type of things. So it comes to when you want to work for someone. I think you having a journalism degree or whatever, it'll work essentially for you to getting a job at that place. But once you're doing it on your own, you don't need it. I didn't study journalism. I'm not gonna study it. I don't need it, and I'm here where I am. So the second part of the question, how do manufacturers choose how people they give their cars to? You remember, you send emails to these people. I'll explain the process of sending emails and whatnot. So you send emails to these people, they look at your proposal to them, and then if it seems fit for their requirements or what they want or what they need, then they give you a call. So how do they choose? I think it's all based on your proposal and your publications and how everything is. So that's that. Okay. So the next question is, at what age did I start? I started at the age of 20. That was last year, 2020. I am 21 right now. Is having a good following on socials necessary? Definitely. It is necessary. Essentially, the cars you get are based on your following. Manufacturers don't give you cars and they're not going to benefit anything. So if I have 5 followers, and why would the manufacturer give me a car if I have 5 followers? So having a good following is very necessary. It will help you as well in getting certain cars and just breaking into the game as well. The next question is, please also mention maybe what kind of brands you've worked with in the beginning. Brands I've worked with in the beginning. My first test car was a Renault Kwid. So I worked with Renault in the beginning. That was last year. This year, my second test car was an Isuzu, and my third test car was a Suzuki. So brands I've worked with in the beginning, I'd like to say it's Suzuki more. I've gotten a lot of Suzukis. So Suzuki essentially are the people that like necessarily put me on the map, I should say. So Suzuki being a brand I worked with in the beginning, but for me this whole year is still the beginning for me. So I've worked with Suzuki, I've worked with Isuzu, Renault, that was just last year. I've worked with Peugeot, I've worked with Citroen. I'm forgetting if I've worked with Kia. So for me, this is still the beginning. Hence, I'm including all of these cars. But if you like the beginning, if you talk about the first part, the beginning, the first part for me, the first part, it needs to be Isuzu and Isuzu and Suzuki. That's it for me. Yeah, that's the brand I've worked with from the beginning. Do you think a university student will be able to do it? Yes. You just need to have your priorities straight. You need to know what you want. I am a university student and I'm doing it. So anyone can do it, honestly. Anyone can do it. You just need to have the motivation to do it. You know, the never die spirit, you know. So that's that. So how long have you been doing it? I've been doing it for a year. Roughly, let's just say. There's another question I got from Instagram. How many test cars have you had so far? Oh, okay, that's tricky. Let's start from the beginning. That's from last year. I had a Renault Kwid. I got that in August last year. So that's one. I didn't get anything else last year. This year I had the Isuzu Baki, the D-Max, that's 2. I had the Desire, that's 3. I had the Swift Sport, that's 4. I had the Mahindra S11 automatic, the Baki, that's 5. I've had the Peugeot 208, that's 6. I've had the Suzuki Brezza, that's 8, that's 7. I've had the Kia Rio, that's 8. I've had the Isuzu MEX, that's 9. I've had the Peugeot 208, that's 10. I've had the Citroen C3, that's 11. I've had the Picanto X-Line, that's 12. I've had the Suzuki Swift, the normal one, this one that I'm in right now, that's 13. I've had 13 cars overall. I've had 12 cars this year. I don't forget anything else, right? Yeah, that's it. I don't think I forgot. If I have forgotten, I think I'll put it there, but I think I got everything. So yeah, so those are the number of cars I've had. I've had 13 cars in a year, 12 cars in 6 months. Yeah, that's that. Moving on. Yeah, let's move on. So now let's talk about how I got into the industry and what it takes and how you do it, basically. So officially for me, my aim was to make City of South Africa a page where I showcase what South Africa has to offer, because not a lot of people know what's in South Africa, you know, or what we have. So I just wanted to show the people that are outside of South Africa more of what South Africa has. So I would go to drag races, events, take pictures, videos, upload them on Instagram only at that point in time. And then, so sometime last year, I thought about, let me get into new car reviews. Let's see how it goes. Because people have told me that I'm well spoken. I'm great in front of the camera. So I'm like, why not? It wouldn't hurt. Plus, at that point, I already had a YouTube channel. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go for it. You know, it wouldn't hurt to try. So I decided to do that. And how I did it initially, on Twitter, there was around around last year July, on Twitter there was a time where the Suzuki Espresso and Renault Kwid were trending, right? So I used that as an opportunity to get into the game, I should say. So I did a poll. I asked people which car would they prefer. So I put a picture of a Renault Kwid and a Suzuki Espresso. I asked people which car would they prefer, and people answered. I tagged both manufacturers actually. I tagged them, and then people asked me which one do I prefer. Then based on looks, I said the Renault Kwid. But I can't say because I haven't driven both of them at the time, right? So then I tagged both brands and I asked to test drive their cars. And then Renault sent me a DM asking for my details, where I live, all of that, and then they sent a driver with a Renault Kwid. I'll put the picture there. So that happened last year, and then within the same week, the Suzuki did the same thing. They sent not the same thing, but they asked for my numbers, email address, and then the nearest Suzuki. So I live in Montana, so there's a Suzuki not too far from where I live. So they asked me to go there and test drive the car. So I went there, I test drove it, then I was fine. Then I came back, and then people started asking me questions, which one do I prefer? So I'm like, let me make a video about it. Click the pop-up banner there, you'll see me answering questions of the two cars. So I did that video, and then I posted it on YouTube. And then I'm like, I actually want to drive these cars longer so I know how they are. So I asked Renault for their email address so I can send my proposal to them. So I sent my proposal to them. They gave me the car, and I did the review of the car. You'll see it on the channel. It's my first review. And then Suzuki, I didn't do Suzuki. I think I was still a bit overwhelmed with the fact that I'm getting a test car, because literally I sent the email. I think I sent the email on Friday. Yes, I sent the email on Monday. They responded on Tuesday, telling me that they're bringing a car for me on Friday. So I was still overwhelmed with that. My first test car, I didn't expect it. I was like shooting my shot, even if they turned me down, I was not gonna be sad or anything. So I didn't expect it. So that happened. I got the car. That was my first test car, and then I just went to people. I spoke to Kalakani on Wheels. How do you do it? Then they told me you sign up for MotorPress and QuickPick. MotorPress and QuickPick, at the bottom of every press email they send you, there's email address of the HR managers of a specific manufacturer. So you check that email address, you send them, and then you send them your proposal. Some respond, some don't. It happens. So I was doing that for the whole of last year. So I sent emails here and there, and then Suzuki responded, telling me they'll work with me. Then we just, for the rest of the year, just relaxed. Nothing happened. And then this year, I sent an email to Isuzu. They responded. I sent a follow-up email to Suzuki. Then they're like, oh yeah, let's work. And then that's how I started getting Suzuki's and Isuzu as well. So essentially, you send a lot of emails, especially in South Africa. You send a lot of emails. A lot of emails will be ignored. It's just, before you actually start getting calls and you're sending emails and there's no response, it kind of hurts, that you're not getting any responses, test calls, stuff like that. But one thing I can tell you is that don't give up. Send the emails. They don't respond, fine, push your craft. Eventually they'll see you get noticed, and they'll reach out. And it's just how it is. Because look at it like this. I also don't blame them. I don't blame the people that have ignored me. Reason being, I didn't have any bases on. I've only had a video of a Renault Kwid, one review, and I'm expecting brands to give me their cars, and there's only one review on my page. So there's a lot that needs to go into place. Hence, I also started doing like reviews of other people's cars, so that your page has substance. You need to have something to build on, so that when you do send your email, you're sending it, your proposal, you're sending it with foundation, if I should say, so that it's not is not just there. You're not. I can put. You have a foundation. You have something to fall back on. When they look at your channels, they see, okay, this guy's actually pushing. He's doing 1, 2, 3. So now if you send an email asking for their car, and you have about 5 pictures, you don't even have a review. It takes a lot for these manufacturers to actually give an opportunity like that. So that's essentially how I got into the game. So getting into the game, basically, you must have a passion for it. Because I feel like if you're doing it just to drive the cars, you're not gonna go in it. That's what I can tell you. Because you're not gonna have the passion to do it. You can. There's times where it gets a lot. It gets really hectic. So you have to have the willpower for you to keep going. So that's how I've been doing it. So it gets very tough. Especially once you start getting cars back to back, it gets very tough because you need to create different content with this car. And my advice to people that are getting into the game, even if you get the small car that you get and you get a big car, the effort you put in the big car, put it in the small car. Don't, for example, I'm gonna use Suzuki actually. Just because I have the Swift and I get a Swift Sport, I mustn't push more content with the Swift Sport than I'm pushing with the Swift, because it'll be clear that, so when we give this person this type of car, they push more content with that car because they don't like this car. So the same effort you put in big cars, you put the same effort in small cars. So there should be equality. There shouldn't be, oh, because it's this brand I'm gonna push like that, it's this brand I'm gonna push like that, make it equal. Basically that's how it should be. So personally, I feel like I was very fortunate. I am very fortunate. I'm forever grateful for that. Because a lot has happened this year. A lot has happened. I've done so many things this year that I even forgot it happened this year. I even forgot that I went to Eastern Cape. I think also for me, the Eastern Cape trip was kind of like a life-changing moment for me. Because I didn't expect it. I totally didn't expect to be going to Eastern Cape. I didn't expect to be being sent messages saying, hi, I'd like your numbers, I'm gonna tell you about something, I'm having an Eastern Cape, what, all those type of things. So it was life changing for me. The Eastern Cape thing, how it came about, basically I was just chilling, Then I think 2 weeks before I went to Eastern Cape, a guy called Pure, he sent me a DM on Twitter telling me to please give me your numbers. I'm also in the motoring industry game. I'd like, so we talk. Because I'm starting out, he's also starting out basically. I'm like, why not? You need to be together in this industry. So I joined hands with him, we spoke, and then he told me about the Eastern Cape PCV Challenge. And he told me that he's attending it. I'm like, oh, that's nice. I'm like, where can I see it? He's like, no, go on Facebook. So I checked it on Facebook. So when he told me about it, he wasn't saying let's go. He was telling me to check it out. So I checked it out. I'm like, okay, this actually this is actually nice. And then I think 2 days later, he's sending me a message asking, dude, around the 2nd of March for that week, what are you doing? Where are you going? I'm like, I won't be doing anything. I will just have a test car. What's up? He's like, no, let's go to Eastern Cape PCV Challenge. And then things just went from there. We exchanged details, ID numbers, all of that, planes and all of that. So it took time for me to process it. I knew I was going to Eastern Cape, but it didn't process at all. It only processed to me once I landed in Cape Town. No, not even then. I landed in Cape Town. It clicked to me once I was driving the Fortunas to Eastern Cape. That's when I'm like, okay, wow, so this is actually happening. And then it just clicked worse once I was with the whole SUV challenge and we just started doing convoys to different towns. That's when it clicked to me that, wow, I'm actually in Eastern Cape on my own will. So that trip was also a life-changing thing for me because it took me to places I've never seen and never thought I'd see. And essentially, another thing, that Eastern Cape SUV challenge was definitely a blessing in disguise. Things just started escalating for me from after that trip, because literally when I came back on a Sunday, right? Sunday night. Monday morning, I was receiving emails from manufacturers telling me, yes, we accept your proposal, we'll work together. I was making bookings for cars. So that that was just life changing. That whole week was just life changing for me because I was booking cars. I booked the Swift Sport then. I booked the Peugeot 2008 then. Mahindra, I got into Mahindra then. So it was life changing, honestly. So things just started escalating for me. And then the month of April came. Every week in April, I had a test car. I started off with the Swift Sport. The second week, I had the Mahindra. The third week was my birthday week, actually. I had the Peugeot 208, the third week. The fourth week, I had the Suzuki Brezza. And then in May, when May started, I had the Kia Rio. So literally, my birthday month, April, was a month for me. Like, I feel like at that point, I felt like this is the best I could do. Getting cars every week. I don't think I'll ever top this, you know? And then in May, I got one test car, the Kia Rio, but I had it for 2 weeks. That car, I didn't make any bookings for May because I had things to do with my personal life. So I slacked a bit so that my personal life and cars don't clash. So that's where also personal life comes. You need to know your priorities, set your things out straight. So then I just make bookings for June. So it's for June, right? I was only supposed to get 3 cars. It was the Isuzu. I made booking for the Isuzu, ABX, Peugeot 3008, and Kia Rio X-Line, right? And then the Lord opened doors. Then I got the Citroen C3. Then I got the Suzuki Swift, this one. Yes, so for the month of June, I had 5 cars. 5 cars. I had 2 cars in one garage twice. I had the Isuzu MUX and the Peugeot 3008 at one time. I'm gonna put the picture there. Then I had this Swift and the Kia Picanto X-Line at the same time. I'm gonna put the picture there again. So, like, a lot happens, you know. So I was speechless. I'm still am, but now I'm starting to warm up to it. I'm starting to accept certain things that, wow, this is bound to happen, you know. So there's a question I actually forgot to answer here. It says, can you also please talk about how you got sponsors? In that regard, I think you're talking about the Socks with Imbe thing. Imbe is my friend, right? So with that, I actually forgot I even used to work at a dealership. So Imbe actually hit me up last year, December, saying, you know, I have a proposal for you. I'd like us to work together. Since you work at a dealership, when someone buys a car, how about you give them the Socks by Imbe thing as well? So all of that. So that was last year, December, and then we thought about it in January, and then like we just put everything on hold, basically, you know. And then around March, because when I came back from the Eastern Cape SUV Challenge that week, I went and I just resigned. I stopped working at the dealership. So with that, Imbe, I hit up Imbe. I'm like, dude, let's go out for lunch and talk, you know. So we met up, and then we spoke about the plan, how I'd like to make this work. I'm like, dude, I'll be getting test cars. Let's do it like this. And it was also, I was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm like, people that buy Socks by Imbe through me, when I have a test car, I will deliver it. And there were people who did that. So he gained in that regard. I gained in the regard that I got Socks by Imbe as well. So essentially, it was more of like a partnership than a sponsor. I was putting him out there more than he already is, because out there he's pushing his own thing. But I was, you know, just, it's nice to see a fellow friend become successful in their own craft. So it was me basically killing 2 birds with 1 stone, basically. So I wouldn't say it was a sponsorship, it was more as much as a partnership. We still work together. You want Socks by Imbe, hit me up. I'll come and give it to you in my test car. Simple as that. Okay. Last question actually, then I'll end everything. What exactly does your work entail? Do you write reviews or just post? Please explain the process. Does a car company call you to come and fetch a car? What are the rules in regards to the car? Right. So the first part of it, what does my work entail? What does your work entail? Basically, I review a car. I drive it. I tell you how it is. Do I like it? Do I don't like it? That's basically what I do. Do I write reviews? I used to write reviews for Auto Advisor. That was like early last year. But currently, because I'm on my own, I'm under myself basically. I don't write reviews as of yet because I don't have a place to do so. I don't have a website. I'm strictly on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. So I don't write, I talk, So that's the form of my reviewing at the current stage. Maybe I'll write, maybe I won't write. Never know. It'll surprise you. So like, does the car company call you to come fetch the car? No, they don't call you. When you make the booking of the car in an email, they tell you, Sharp will bring the car on this date. Then on that date, they bring the car, lasts for a week, they come back, they fetch it, they leave. Simple as that. It's like that. They don't call you to come fetch a car. They don't. So last question says, what are the rules and regulations with the car? There is no do's and don'ts. They don't give you a car and tell you can only do this, you can't do that. Do this, do that, do this, do that. They don't tell you that. But you also have to think about it. What you want to do, and to think about it. Is it right? So if you aren't sure, if you're not do something and you're not sure about it, first thing you need to do is call the PR manager at the specific manufacturer and ask for permission. Hear what they say, they agree, sharp. Example, when they give me the Swift, they just give me the Swift. They don't tell me do that, right? But now I decide, hey, I actually want to drive to Cape Town. I can drive to Cape Town in a Swift. It's very possible, But question comes, will Suzuki approve me going to Cape Town? Because going to Cape Town does what? Puts mileage on the car, right? So I'm gonna first have to speak to the HR manager at Suzuki. I'll be like, Anna, go to Cape Town. They'll be like, why? Then I'm like, oh, Anna takes shots at the beach, the sea, all of that. And then hear what they say. They could be like, no, they could be like, yes. So before you do something, think about it. There's certain things you can't do, but they don't tell you. Because I live in Pretoria, I can drive to Joburg. I don't have to call them and say I'm driving to Joburg because it's right here. But then once I start racking up mileage on a certain car, or I know my trip is gonna rack up mileage, then you need to ask for permission first. And there is no mileage cap. They don't tell you can only do 500 Ks, you can only do 1000 Ks, you can only do. But if you wanna do like a long distance trip, it's best they know about it. So in case if something does happen, it doesn't come as a surprise. If I decide to go to Durban. Well, personally, I'm speaking from my view. I don't know about other journalists if they do ask or they don't ask. But me, if I decide to go to Durban, I think for me personally, I'll tell them that I'm deciding to go to Durban. Hear what they say. Because if I just up and leave and go to Durban, then I get an accident in Durban. So I don't want that. I wouldn't want that kind of drama. So in that regard, I think it's best you first ask or you inform them, hear what they say, and then, relax. And also mileage-wise, there is no mileage cap. They don't tell you can do so much Ks, you can do so much, you can do as much as you want. I think the most I've put on our car is 1,400. Yeah, the Peugeot 208. I did the most of that. So to close everything up, right, I'm just going to summarize everything up again. So to get into the industry, make sure you know where you want to get into. Through what social media platform. You wanna use Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. If you wanna use those three, make sure you have a good following. That helps you a lot. Website, you can do that. I can't give you much advice about website because I don't have a website as well, but you can do that as well. So now, how to do it, right? Sign up for Quick Pick MotoPress. At the end of every press release that you get, at the bottom, there's an email address of the PR managers at a specific manufacturer. Then you email them your proposal. You tell them what you want. You don't just say, hi, I'm Nikki. I'm Nikki. Please have a test car. Kind regards, send email. They'll be like, you need to tell them, hi, I'm Nikki. I'd like a test car. Hi, no, actually, you need to tell them. Right, you'll be like, hi, I'm Nikki from what. My publications are 1, 2, 3. My following is 1, 2, 3. You need to, everything must be a firm proposal. It needs to be there so that when they read, they'll be like, okay, I'm not too serious. This is serious. So then you do that, and then you send it. They respond, they don't respond. They respond, they don't respond. So don't get impatient as well. Be patient. And also, if you feel like at some point you'll feel a bit demotivated, that you don't want to do it anymore, you're just tired of all of this, you just want to give up. Don't. Push your own thing. Push your own thing. There'll be a time when brands you want to get into will notice you. You know, so like with myself, there's certain brands I'm not inside. I don't know if they don't know me, but I'm not there. There's brands, I don't want to name brands, but there's brands I'm not inside. So brands you see me working with, those brands that if you see me post a car on YouTube, especially me reviewing it, you must know that I'm inside that brand. I'm still on a trial basis. So it takes time, and also don't feel entitled to other people's success. Push your own craft, you'll make it. So I'm Nicky Nash from Switch South Africa. If I didn't answer a question through this video, I'm sorry. Comment below, I'll answer a question. So I'm Nicky Nash from Switch South Africa. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, notification bell. That's it.